Retro Hero.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Hero podcast. My name is John, and to my right is my awesome co-host, Mr. Bradley Rollins. Bradley Wallins.
Fucking botched my name.
I'm
known you for 10 years.
I'm doing the Mega Man 8 Dr. Light,
okay.
like Bradley Wallins.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
that reference slipped me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it did. But anyways, this is the Retro Hero podcast, and thank you for joining us. I think this is a special episode coming to you sort of live from an office.
Yeah, we just got done seeing Black Panther, and we decided to come to the office and use a quiet room and
hopefully not get fired.
Yeah.
Cool. But so if you like what you've listened to in past episodes, if you've actually listened to past episodes, or if you like what you're listening to in the future after this one, you can hit us up on Facebook.com/Retro Hero Podcast. We also have a Twitter at the Retro Hero and YouTube.com.
Yeah, YouTube.
Retro Hero. Are we over that? Over that?
I think the podcast will automatically upload to YouTube, but aside from that, I mean, I think we're looking at other avenues of video sharing.
And then our email.
Yeah, email. retroheropodcast@gmail.com. Emphasis on the G.
Yeah, because
then
we can't afford our own special email address yet. So we just
we'll
Gmail.
One day we can dream. We can dream. And then we also have a Patreon. So if you guys really like us,
hit us up Patreon.
There's two of you who do.
Patreon.com/Retro Hero.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
No podcast, right? Just
no,
Retro
it's
Hero.
just Retro Hero on Patreon, and you can just.
I should know these things, shouldn't I?
You should, as the co-host of the Retro Hero podcast.
It's terrible.
You think
it's
you
terrible.
fucking know some social media?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have a Patreon. As John just displayed, he's so deserving of your money with his dedication.
Yes. Just give me your money. I'm gonna do terrible things with it anyways. So
hookers and blow at the Retro Hero headquarters.
They're not gonna do anything good with it. So just give it to me. I mean, this is the world we live in, right? Where it's just people just ask for money, right?
Yep.
We don't work for it. I want to be like a reality TV star that just does nothing.
Like pretends like you have a podcast, but you just rake in all of the social media's money, and there you go.
Could be a Truman Show thing going on, and I don't even know about it.
Now. They're watching. They're listening.
But yeah, Brad, why don't you describe why our special guest to my left here? Maybe about our episode.
We brought in a good friend of ours, David. Hello, David.
Hello.
David is our good friend, fellow gamer, fellow nerd. He actually.
Whoa. why we gotta be throwing the N-word around?
Oh man,
it's not derogatory. I understand how he meant it. It's okay. I'm not offended.
Sorry, we're the same kind, so we can use it when we're talking to each other. You know.
So only a nerd can call another nerd nerd.
Exactly. If a non-nerd calls you a nerd, then you can throw down. Okay.
It's like Revenge of the Nerds. It's like Ogre can't call me a nerd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
all right.
God.
I'm glad we've established those ground rules now.
Fuck, that fucked me up. Okay, so fellow nerd, and also he is a game designer, amateur, but getting started, man. So tell us about yourself. Maybe plug. You got a Twitter, you got a Twitch. I know you're big in the streaming right now, so
that'll
why don't you start off by giving us your Twitch and.
Yeah, so I was introduced as David, but you can find me online actually at basically search r_panda. I go by rpanda, red panda, fucking,
I get it. You kind of look like a red panda now. Oh,
just a little bit. Yeah, I'm a little ginger.
For those a little. That's an understatement for those who don't have the video feed, the live video, multi-cam, 10-camera HD video feed we have going on right now for our $100 a month Patreon subscribers. So if you want that live video.
Yeah,
John is butt naked right now.
And I'm twirling my nipples.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for after the show.
Okay.
That you have to pay more than $100 to see that.
Yep. On your Twitch cam later on.
My ChatterBait.
Your live cam.
I'm on ChatterBait.com. That's what it is.
So yeah, you r_panda is where people can find you on the interwebs.
I have updates on Twitter, along with I have basically random streams on Twitch.
Okay.
Up until this month, I'm really getting a lot more serious about it.
Yeah.
I've been streaming regularly for the past 5 days, but it's been pretty regular, and I'm actually diving back into game development after taking a little break. Playing some games, and that's what this month's all about. I'm playing games, specifically platformers, which is like kind of my niche. Action games, fighting games, platformers. That 2D love. It's strong in me,
and it's come back hard. I wonder, as a game designer, I've always wondered this of game designers. You said you need to take a break to play some games. Obviously, when you're so absorbed into making a game, you want to get away and get inspired by other people and such. I mean, how often do you kind of, like when you're designing, are you just focused on that only? You don't play games, that you just kind of flip back and forth between them?
Yeah, like I have to, personally, I don't know how other designers work, but I basically, when I'm making my game, that's like my big ass project, and that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I don't know, I think a lot of creators work that way, where it's hard. I try to like stay up to date to some extent about like the big news and such, and I try to, but a lot of my time, especially once I'm developing a game, if I'm going to be like watching YouTube or doing this or that, I get driven. Instead of actually playing games, I just look at game dev stuff, and I'm reading articles, and I'm all over that scene when I am, which is why sometimes I have to take a break and actually just like play some games, get inspired. Right now I'm going through this month, and I'm trying to be pretty official about it, as far as like I'm trying to really dive into every game from a game designer's perspective, and I'm like taking notes about specific mechanics that I enjoy and why I enjoy them. Yeah. And this is all going to feed back into like my I don't know, my passion project, which is like I finally feel like I have a couple of like tiny demos and tutorial and like stuff I've made from tutorials. I should say that I work in Pico 8, a fantasy console. Yeah. That is a fake virtual console that never existed, but we pretend it did. Yeah. And this console on PC basically gives me the sandbox that I need to develop, classic, like retro style.
That's awesome.
Little.
Yeah, I played your. Packs. I did get the chance to play the game. What was it called again? Lanzer. So it was a simple ass game, but man, it was addicting as hell, like off the bat, because like you would get so close to that landing pad, just one little fuck up, and I love those kind of games that you incorporate that where death is a learning mechanic, and you come back so quick, like we've all recently just beat Celeste, that kind of game where. Yep. I'm not saying that that's exactly like yours, but I felt like that's what drove me, like totally. You fail, but you're so quick to just get back and keep trying, and I love that. Yeah.
So last year I made a game called Lanzer that is a lunar lander clone, basically. It's like a pretty popular like retro genre as far as landing a spaceship on a moon type surface. Yeah. And with my version of it, I really tried to focus on the details, and I try to focus on what I love about games, which is game feel and gameplay. I just don't give a fuck, and I hope I can say that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We say fuck all the time.
Fuck.
I don't give a fuck about story when it like comes down to it. I like gameplay is king for me. Yeah. And I love diving into the minutia and figuring out like making a game like fun and then making a game tight. And that's what I tried to do with the little Lancer game,
Yeah. Well, it starts with the core mechanic, I feel like, like the simple just landing this on that, and then it gets harder and harder, and, that's game design in a nutshell from the very beginning. So it's crazy how it still holds true today, man. Yeah. I mean, with this 2D revival, it's It's a good time.
I do have to say this though. You talked about how story means nothing to you, or you don't care about it.
Mm-hmm.
How did we just played Celeste? That did nothing for you. There was nothing about that storyline that I actually, even though it was such a simple story,
It was deep.
I felt super connected to the character Madeline, especially.
Right before we move on, I'll plug a place where you can find my games.
Yeah, absolutely.
itch.io. I definitely try to
spell that.
ITCH.
Okay.
.io. And you can search on there for r_panda. And both there, I try to upload to many different gaming sites, but I think itch.io has the best UI and site.
Yeah.
I think it's clean. And
is that just a hosting site for developers like you?
Yep, it's a lot of indie games. It's very much it's a nice balance between a lot of games by devs for devs. There's like that, but there's also a pretty decent user base for people that want to search for those new developers that are making their little gems.
Hell yeah.
The hidden gems, and that's like something like Celeste was that. Celeste started as a Pico 8 title, actually.
Right, yeah.
Which you can find in the
right,
game.
yeah, which I did. That was amazing playing
yes.
that, like even more retro. Yeah, that was awesome Easter egg.
Now it all makes. I didn't put the 2 and 2 together. The Pico 8 was what you used, and now it all makes sense. So
it's a literal they wrapped their game within Celeste and got it running, and it's definitely evokes exactly the kind of feel and style of game that I enjoy and want to make. The original Celeste especially being
just pure tight controls.
Yeah, just about climbing that mountain, about getting better, about dying. There's no real story there, but there's subtle themes that you can feel.
Yeah.
I do so I don't care for story very much, but I do like and appreciate themes quite a bit, and I definitely appreciate Celeste. But when it comes to the actual the main game that came out recently for PC and Switch, I found the story to take, so it's about depression, and it's about her to some extent not coming to terms with her depression, I guess.
Yeah,
you could say.
I would say that. Yeah, or kind of not letting it take over her completely.
Yeah,
and coming to terms with it, but also being able to kind of separate it.
Not letting it turn her bitter.
Yeah,
it's definitely a real thing. For me, I guess personally, I just didn't feel that much of a connection to how she was treating it, and there's a point in the game where she kind of something just a switch just flips for her, and she suddenly realizes that she needs to accept it and take it as a part of her on her journey up the mountain. But it's kind of not really how I dealt with depression myself. I definitely have been depressed for a very long time.
People go through that for sure.
Nowadays, I'm definitely in a better place, which is really great.
Good.
I'm super happy about it.
Yeah.
I still but I still, I definitely will probably always live with that little ball of depression.
Yeah, it never leaves you, man. It never leaves you. You just hide it and you put it away, and then it's always there.
And that's kind of what I liked about Celeste too. Was she's not. You kind of think you're fighting it and it's gonna die, but then without spoiling too much, she does kind of know that I need it and it's gonna be there with me always.
Yeah. The game had a great. I enjoy the story. I mean, I will say the characters themselves weren't. It didn't suck me in like that, but the theme and just the overall the story itself was pretty good.
Yeah, it's the specifics of the story that I I'm okay with. I like the characters a lot more than the story. For example,
I liked the my favorite stage was the hotel.
Yeah, cleaning up for the one guy,
and then the ghost,
Osho or something like that.
Oshiro,
I think it's Oshiro. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite stage. I just liked his story and the little ending bit where he's the ghost and
I think you get a lot more emotional resonance with that particular level, that area.
Yeah.
it's kind of, and I appreciate like how she has to go through her journey. For me, depression is more of like it's a poison in my mind that changes my train of thought, and I appreciate that they did that pretty fucking explicitly. But I don't know. There's something about it where it felt easy for her to like accept it. It happened kind of early.
It's probably because well, I would probably say the only reason it might seem that way is just because it is kind of a short game.
Yeah,
so
it took me about 10 hours to get through the first playthrough.
Ish, 10-ish, 9, for 10. Me too. Something about that. But it's such a short game, so it's like you go through it. Unless you just suck at the game, get good. But
I sucked at a few of those strawberries, man. I'll say that. There was a few that gave me some fucking troubles. I was also stoned off my ass a few nights when I was playing that game, and let me tell you,
so much harder. Much harder stuff.
So to kind of like go, would you ever like in your games want to have any storyline, or are you just purely just like I want tight controls and I want it to have great feel and I don't care anything about that.
Like the smaller personal games that I will make by myself are gonna just have themes. Yeah. Like I just. As a one-man crew, it's I have to decide exactly where I want to put my energy and time. It's really important and critical.
As a game designer / developer, as yourself, John and I have always had this idea for a video game. Okay, and we're gonna pitch you our game idea, and you tell us if you would fund it or not.
He's not gonna fund it.
First,
okay. If you had money, or
we need to know if Michael Jai White can fund it. That's what we really need to know.
Hopefully, he hears this podcast. So, if y'all didn't know, John and I are huge fans of the movie Black Dynamite. We've showed a lot of our friends here in Oregon the movie for the first time. But John and I have always had this idea that Black Dynamite would make a perfect Super Nintendo beat 'em up game. Like you have the four main characters. You know, you got Black Dynamite, Cream Corn, Bullhorn. They have like Honeybee in there or something. Like, and then just going through each stage, because like the movie itself has like he progressively goes through like harder and harder dudes. And it's like it's.
Get the fiendish Dr. Wu.
Yeah, and then like Nixon is the final boss, and dude, the music, the opportunity for the music to make it funky as fuck, beats, and like, I'm thinking like the cutscenes. You know, you have like I don't know if you ever played like Ninja Gaiden on the NES, but like how they do cutscenes where it's like it'll show the face,
just the
with
eyes,
or the color in the background, like the text. Like you won't hear the voices, you'll just hear like, but kind of like mimicking a voice, but. Dude, I think, and you have combos and like specials, and
I think you could make it just a tight, and then also like a car chase scene when you're chasing Chicago Wind or something. But like other than that, just like a pure just
beat 'em up, dude.
Beat 'em up, Double Dragon style.
River City Ransom.
Yeah, exactly.
Ninja Turtles, or just any of those great beat 'em ups from the Super Nintendo, man. I just think like. If you took the Black Dynamite licensing characters and you could implement that into that type of game,
have the humor,
and you could do, oh my God,
Michael Jai White,
get
at us, bro.
Let's get this
Retro Hero Podcast at gmail.com. Let us know what you think.
Yep, that'd be awesome. I mean, I don't know how many people it would take to make that kind of game. But I would definitely be willing to do like voice or music or anything like that.
That kind of game, it definitely like nowadays it would. Definitely take art. That's sounds like the biggest
you need an
hurdle
artist.
to me.
Beat 'em ups are they're just not like really. There's not really a market for them right now. So it's almost like at the time it might be pretty good.
You haven't really seen.
You don't see a lot of beat 'em ups being made anymore.
You get a couple here and there.
The last good one I remember was the Scott Pilgrim. I don't know if you guys ever played that one, but the
I
Scott
never
Pilgrim
played it.
Beat 'em up. Oh my God,
Scott
it was
Pilgrim.
beautiful.
Or
Castle
Crashers.
I was gonna say right around then, Castle Crashers also came out.
Yeah.
And
so it had a resurgence.
Maybe there's been a lull, and you can move in again.
Let's get this going, Retro Heroes. Let's get this going. Black Dynamite, beat 'em up in this fucking Super Nintendo style. Let's get this going.
I'm super down. Like, I totally appreciate, the gameplay of beat 'em ups as far as like they range in quality.
Yeah, of course.
Usually.
Do you have a favorite beat 'em up? like all time, or a couple favorites?
I want to say like Scott Pilgrim is pretty
It's a great
fucking
one.
good.
It's a great one, man.
I'm really biased because I love the movie.
Yeah.
But
It's one of my favorite movies too.
like good. Basically anything that's got like feels like it has good multiplayer and like you get good interactions, which you do in that game.
Hell yeah.
Like
I might have to pick this up.
Dude,
then.
I don't know how you can get it now. I had it on the PS3 back in the day. It was
Well, then you could get it on your Vita, right?
probably, I don't know if you can get it on PS4 in any way, but or
I'll
maybe
have
on
to check.
Steam somehow.
After this episode, I'm gonna find out.
No, dude, it's an excellent
Yeah.
beat 'em up, and it gets pretty difficult too. And it's a
Yeah.
great 4-player. It plays homage to the graphic novels.
has it not been re-released for the Switch
don't-
yet?
I
'Cause,
don't-
like,
dude.
everything
Yeah,
is for the
shit.
Switch now.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
off topic for a bit, I read rumors today that seemed to be pretty solid that Diablo 3 and Fortnite will be coming to the Switch.
That's
Fucking
insane.
Fortnite?
That's insane. Like if that happens,
Both of those
Wow.
games, I would
Could be
give
a
it.
game
Like I've been
changer.
kind of on the fence about Fortnite because me and shooters, I like them, and Fortnite has seemed interesting. I just kind of been on the fence, but if it came on the Switch, dude, I would jump right on that shit.
I've got a lot of friends back in Texas playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
They love it. So
Yeah, and
if,
then
if I
Diablo-
could get this chance to have it on the Switch,
Dude,
and then
hell yeah.
Diablo 3 also on
And then-
like a portable
Nintendo-
Diablo 3. Are you kidding me?
Nintendo's open to cross-platform play and cross.
They are,
Yeah,
with-
Sony's the one who wants
With
to hold
Microsoft,
out.
It's Sony do.
So I mean, yeah, dude, Fortnite would be excellent, but Diablo 3 has me more excited though, man, because I play the shit out of it on PC, and I think that would be a perfect on-the-go fucking game,
I
dude. If
agree.
you could link up
Yeah.
locally or online and just, oh, dude, imagine that, bro. It'd be awesome.
So it's March 6th right now. So if they actually do drop this direct, just so you know, because this might be uploaded after tomorrow. So.
Supposedly there's a direct on the 8th. That's the
Yeah.
rumor. There's a one this week on the 8th. So
Okay.
we'll see if that holds true.
Yeah.
I looked into my magical crystal ball,
Yeah.
summoned the visions of the future.
Well, anyways, let's kind of get back on topic.
Do you want me to summon the visions of your
Yeah.
of your future, John?
No.
Okay. All right.
You
wanna
don't.
know?
No.
I can tell you when you die right now.
Nah, I wouldn't want to know. That's too much.
Okay.
That's too much, man. But
It's tomorrow.
oh, cool.
Oh,
Sweet.
shit.
Suicide, right?
Better upload this tonight.
I know, right? Shit.
This is John's last night on Earth, people. So, knock on wood.
So you're on your Twitch. You're gonna be streaming, playing a lot of platformers, like you said, 30 for
Yeah.
30 days. What are
Yep.
some of the games
Yeah.
on that list? I'm kind of
Yeah.
interested.
Do you have a
in-
schedule? Like, yeah,
I do. So right now at twitch.tv/r_panda, you'll find me there streaming every weeknight, 8 to 10, basically,
Okay.
is what I'm trying to stick to.
Yeah.
Every weeknight that I want to, I might take off some Fridays, and I will announce that.
Do you are you one thing with Twitch? Are you using video feed while you play?
Oh,
Of
yeah.
yourself, yeah.
So I should explain that.
Yeah.
I think I bring a lot to Twitch and the visual because, well,
'Cause you have
for
cur-
one,
long ass
I have
red hair.
beautiful, long ass, gorgeous
Yeah.
red hair, and super curly.
There you go, ladies.
Beyond that, I actually have a second camera that is pointing at my crotch, but I cover up my crotch with a hitbox.
Ah.
So
That's hilarious, man.
so
Yeah.
my preferred controller is a hitbox,
Mhm.
and this is an all button controller,
Yeah.
where the directional inputs are actually Japanese Sanwa buttons, along with the regular face buttons of a controller,
Oh, interesting.
and the shoulder buttons, I guess too.
Yeah.
They're all face buttons now, all of them, even the
Wow,
directions.
that's insane, man.
And I
Is that
fucking
something
love
you
it.
got because you're like I know you were playing competitively fighting games. Is that reason why you're like
Yeah,
with that setup?
I picked up a hitbox way back in 2012, right before Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown dropped. As I was planning on playing that game competitively, which I did, and I did pretty well at Evo, like the first year.
Wow, that's
Like
crazy that you're even playing in that.
OG. He's an OG.
Ninth place, I think.
Damn, that's out of how many people would you say? Just a guess.
300. over
Wow,
300?
and you finished
Nice.
ninth.
Yeah.
Nice.
Jesus
bro.
Christ,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
that's not anything to sneeze at.
I had a great pool, but I had a great time too, and Since then, I found that Hitbox actually works super nicely for any game that has 8 directions and, less than fucking 8 buttons, I guess. And that includes basically like so many retro games and so many new action platformer type games that I fucking love.
Yeah.
Like
the resurgence has been nice, man. These last 5-10 years
so good.
of just 2D.
People complain about platformers. They're like,
it's one of my favorite
so
genres.
It's
I love it.
oversaturated.
No.
You shouldn't make them.
See,
fuck you.
It's
I
almost
don't
like
agree. I don't agree
it's
at
almost
all.
like the 2D platformer came back so hard that the 3D platformer got forgotten about, and now the 3D platformer is starting to make a comeback. And
They're
it's
trying.
Ukulele was like trying to bring it back. Like,
and Mario Odyssey, and
Odyssey,
it's kind of making a comeback.
But yeah, no, honestly, like to me, I maybe it's just the old school gamer in me, but I feel like if you make a great 2D platformer, it doesn't matter what time of year it is, it doesn't matter what. I think it will be successful if you make it right.
Oh yeah.
And
some developers might be like afraid of the fact that like Celeste is so big now, and like maybe people will be satiated, but they won't be. Like people they love.
Somebody will figure
I want more of that shit, dude. Like Super Meat Boy, I'm looking forward to the next one. I love, dude. I just VVVVV.
Super Meat Boy. You haven't played Super Meat Boy yet?
I played the first one.
Oh, I was about to say, I was like, it's gonna. I think it's harder than Celeste.
Yeah. I didn't beat Super Meat Boy. I just played it.
I feel like if a game like Shovel Knight doesn't kill the genre, where it's like this really crisp, clean, like basically everything everyone's wanted from like a classic 2D platformer.
Every NES game.
It is.
Smashed
It's every
into
NES game like smashed into one with great production values and like smart design. And if that didn't kill the genre and people aren't sick of it, then I don't think it will ever die. And I love it, and I'll be sticking with it for basically ever.
Oh yeah, man! Platformers, I think, are that genre that just will always stand the test of time. Because you can pop in Mario Brothers 1 right now, and it's still fun to play. It still looks good. It has good music. I mean, yeah, it's old, but even Mario Bros 3 is my example. I think that's like that game holds up so well.
I go back to that game like at least twice a year.
Yeah,
at least twice a year.
We just fucking streamed it not too long ago. So I mean, and like. Platformers and Donkey Kong Country, I can play that game over and over again. Just those games to me hold up more than anything. Shooters, they lose their lust over time. You can't go back and GoldenEye is so hard to go back and play
GoldenEye,
right now.
Yeah, everybody in our age group probably has some sort of soft spot for GoldenEye or like the original Perfect Dark.
Yeah, perfect. I was gonna.
And it's like playing those now, you're gonna be like,
after 20 years of like twin stick, and you go back to fucking C button aiming.
Oh boy.
But hey. I've said this before. Those 2 games is the reason why I still play inverted to this day.
Oh yeah,
because those games have the inverted controls.
Always.
But
so
platformers just fuck, dude. They'll like 30 years from now, Mario will still be fun to play.
So the games on your list, though, do you have anything like I want to be the guy or something? Do you want to torture yourself that?
I have. So I've made. Not that I'm gonna play them in this order, but I did make some blocks as far as like similar. Not genre, because they're all basically platformers, but I have like a punishing block that has I want to be the guy, and it has all those what's the word? The start with a K, but
lots of kills.
Fuck yeah. I'm basically like doing a number of like a few punishing like I want to be the guy type, but then I have like an influential block of like Celeste that I'm going to be playing again on stream, along with like stuff like influential as far as
any old school stuff.
So I want to try some things that are out of the action genre, like La Mulana, and Ori and the Blind Forest will be a fun one.
I want to play that game.
I'm about to play through all of the Momodoras, which are like some of my favorites. Along with, I probably should have had the list on there. But
what about like a Mega Man?
I'm basically sticking to a few, like I'm sticking to ones that I either haven't played or came out within the last few years. A lot of indie titles. It really sticks.
Oh, you're not going to old school.
No,
mostly indie.
It's like all PC titles. Like basically everything that's a lot of stuff that's come out within the last few years.
Yeah.
Are you into Metroidvanias?
Yes.
You ever played Outland?
No.
You should throw that game on your list, man. I always recommend that game to people who like Metroidvanias.
Axiom Verge too. I don't know
Axiom
if
Verge.
you played that, but
Outland is like a mix of Metroidvania and Ninja Gaiden.
I'm
Like,
not playing Axiom Verge because Environmental Station Alpha is very similar, and I watched a review of or a comparison of both of those. I think it was by Matthew Matosis.
Yeah, you're in that range. I forget his last name, but yeah.
Totally. I'm sure some of your listeners have seen his videos.
We don't have listeners. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry, Mom.
So that video like really showed me like some of the strengths and weaknesses of comparing Axiom Verge and Environmental Station Alpha. And Environmental Station Alpha has that like that tight gameplay, the jumps that I'm looking for. It has the enemy placement in a way that like it's making you think, but it's not. It's about the placement and your movement through the level more so, and it's much more of a game that I think is maybe more speedrunnable, which is something that I'm quite into.
Well,
definitely speedrunning on stream like right now. Like
Axiom Verge actually has a speedrun mode in the game, so
it
I
seemed,
wanted some.
It seemed a bit more like story-ish than
I haven't played. What was you said? Alpha?
Environmental Station Alpha.
Never even heard of that game, to be honest with you.
I think it came out around the same time, 2016, 2015.
But Axiom Verge, there's a story there, but it's not like too text heavy and not too slap you in the face. Like you can go through it pretty quickly. You know, it's.
You say it's like a Metroid type of game.
It is it's very Metroid.
It really depends on the exploration, the amount. Like
there's a lot.
A
lot.
This is something that like I have a close friend, Rare Like a Unicorn. Is his name online, and Rare really appreciates story quite a bit more than I do, but he definitely appreciates exploration a bit more than I do. I kind of realized recently, like, and even as I've only just begun playing quite a few platformers, I'm noticing like the ones where there is that more of that exploration and when it tries to build up the atmosphere, I can appreciate that for a little while, but eventually I'm just trying, like, man, my speedrunner instincts kick in, and I just want to run through the game as fast as I can. And some games,
I like exploration.
So did you find yourself doing that with, like, Celeste? Were you just like, fuck that strawberry, I'm just going to keep proceeding?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I said, fuck strawberries. I basically
See, I'm the exact opposite gamer of you then. I'm like, I'm going to fucking get that strawberry if it fucking kills me.
I don't care about achievements. I don't care about, like, basically anything but, like, playing the game and trying to play it well, whatever that means. For me, it's usually about speed.
Possible.
I'm like totally down with speed running games. I've I ran You Have to Win the Game for a while, and just like on stream since I've started the 30 days. I've been running a random little indie game that came out recently called Gift, but it's the kind of tight like 10-minute game that has the like linear, like it's got the linear level design that I just really appreciate for learning the game and replaying it. I'm totally down to replay a game. I'm like that kind of old school gamer where I understand that a game should last you longer than the first playthrough. Like that doesn't really happen anymore with all the AAA titles. People want to, they're gonna play it for 4 to 6 hours and be done. But
I mean, you get the New Game Plus mode in a lot of games these days. I'm not a big. I like to replay games late, like a few years later. I'm not the type of guy like if I invest 40 hours in an RPG, I don't just go right back into it. Like a lot of people will just go right back in and start over. Like after Persona 5, like we have a buddy Corey. This guy's fucking insane.
He's a masochist.
He's beat Persona 5 like 4 or 5 times, dude. He's
the
the type of dude who will beat it and just right back in, and then just right back in again.
Nah,
and
no
it's
way.
like,
no way.
I couldn't do that with an RPG. I respect but don't understand speedrunning an RPG or like running it a lot. Like for me, when I talk about like the replaying games, I'm definitely talking about games that are meant to only be like half an hour or less.
That's
part of the point of the game. It could be to replay it.
So since you do speedrunning though, And I sometimes like I'll be bored, and if I have nothing to find on YouTube, I'll just watch speed running videos if I'm just like super bored and just want to see something crazy. How do you feel as a speed runner though about there's like people that do like a true run, and then there's like people that find like that one exploit hack where they can like to me like I get why it's popular in the community, but to me I feel like that's not really beating a game.
I don't.
It's like if I
They
kick
break
this
it.
turtle
They just
shell and it
break it.
breaks and it goes straight to the end scene, and I beat Super Mario World in 22 seconds, and I'm like, no, you didn't.
I agree with you, John. I think it should be a pure play.
Yeah.
So I definitely that's why we have categories. You
Yeah,
know? Like
yeah.
there's any percent.
Understandable.
There's always any percent where anything goes.
Right.
And those I fucking love those categories.
Yeah.
I am totally down to break a game to its bare
Yeah.
code, like
yeah.
the bare bones.
It's so insane. See, like where they just like get into the wall and like
Out
it's
of
just,
bounds,
it's
like fucking
oh, man.
glitches and exploits. Like that's
Yeah.
all fair game for me in my eyes.
Yeah.
It could just, I mean, so often it's hard to tell what is and isn't an exploit, and you have to
Yeah.
start talking about developer intent.
Oh,
which I'm not really a big
Yeah.
fan
Just,
of
when I see a dude beat
developer
Ocarina
intent.
of Time in 5 minutes, I'm like, nah. That shit takes me like 20 hours to beat, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, that
Fucking
is,
millennials.
Yeah.
But
You beat in 5 minutes, I can't wait.
that's why you have categories, though.
Yeah.
So like,
I agree.
like you can definitely find what you want, and
Yeah.
it's definitely about playing the game how you want to play it. And you know, speedrunners want to speed the game, and
Yeah.
that's one way to do it.
I'll say this: anybody
Gotta go
that's never
fast.
watched speedrunning or people that are into speedrunning, one of my favorite games that I've seen done in a speedrun was Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
It is amazing because there's so much about the way the game is, the way the physics of Yoshi. And there's so many like little exploits of like how to control Yoshi and like maximize his speed and everything.
Nice.
And there's like trick shots with eggs, like to hit stuff before it's even on screen, and it's just like so crazy. Some of these
Yeah.
guys that do it,
It's insane.
it's amazing. It's amazing.
This
they're
wasn't so much a
perfect
speed
flows.
run,
Yes,
but
yeah.
one of the most impressive Twitch streams I saw was a guy beat Dark Souls 3 without taking a single hit.
That's
The entire game.
I don't believe you.
It was.
I mean, I believe you,
fucking
but I don't believe
nuts.
you.
Like people just, I love the gaming community because like they're like, oh, I'm gonna beat Dark Souls with a DDR mat or some like stupid
my
shit,
God,
or like
yeah.
I'm gonna beat fucking Bloodborne with the DK bongos. You know, people just find like, I love that shit, dude. Like people
Yeah.
just find like the weirdest ways to beat a game, and then they fucking master it. Like people beat Cuphead with the fucking
Oh Jesus!
with the was it the DDR mat or some obscure way of controlling it? They beat Cuphead that way, and fuck, that's a game I need to play.
You still haven't played it
Nah.
at all?
And yeah.
Oh my!
And I
God,
actually own an
Brad.
Xbox, unfortunately.
Brad, that game's amazing. I've not
Oh,
beaten
yeah.
it, but anytime I go over to Tyler's, I like progressively
Yeah,
get farther in the game.
It's right.
He's like, I can't beat this, John. I'm like, all right. After like 10 beers, I'm like, I got this.
Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, I'll
Cuphead.
get. It's on my list.
Cuphead's amazing.
Cuphead's on my list.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
high
yeah,
up.
yeah, it's up there. It's
high
a
up
great
on-
game.
Speaking of other games, like what else have you guys been playing recently?
For me, after beating Celeste, I picked up Owlboy
Nice.
on my Switch,
Yeah.
and I'm actually really enjoying that because it's kind of like it is a Metroidvania, I think, in the term, but it also has has so many like sub genres because it's like there's like flying involved, obviously. There's it's almost like you have a shooter aspect to it too because you're the Owlboy, but all your means of attacks are holding your friends. So you have one friend, he's just like the pea shooter. He could shoot fast, but nothing. Then you got the guy that's like this big fat pirate, and he's the shotgun blast, but
Yeah.
he has to take a while to reload. So it's like there's a lot of that to it. There's even like a scene with a stealth mission involved.
Interesting.
So there's a little bit of everything in there, but I think at its true core, it's a Metroidvania, and I heard a lot of good things about it, and I was gonna get it on my PlayStation 4, but when I found out that it was coming out on the Switch, I was willing to wait for it just because I wanted to. It's the Switch effect,
Dude,
you know. It's like I want to have
it's
it
amazing.
portably. Like it's amazing
what
that,
Nintendo's
yeah.
done there, dude.
And so I was like, yeah, I'm willing to wait for it and not read any reviews or
Yeah.
not watch anything and just go in. Like I'm going in blind. I really don't know like what happens. One of my favorite things about Owlboy though, it's just a small minute detail, but the joke with like how video game characters, the main character never talks. So they actually like right in the beginning, they address that the owl boy, he's a mute.
Yeah.
Like I love that. Like it's just like one little detail where it's like, you know,
Yeah.
he can't talk, he can never talk, and I was just like, oh, that's kind of cool, like a cool way of
Shit.
going around that. But yeah, absolutely love that
Awesome.
game.
Yeah,
Still
dude,
need to
back
get
to,
back
that,
on
back
it.
to the
And-
Switch effect. That's
Incredible
amazing.
art.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the pixel art and
Yeah,
everything. It
nice.
is beautiful game. Beautiful game.
Oh, yeah.
I
That's-
bought the game for the art. I played a few
Yeah.
hours of it, and
Mhm.
it's one of those games that I didn't come back to.
Yeah,
just
it happens,
because
man. It happens.
Like I don't know why exactly, but I do like the one thing that like was just crazy is the art. Like,
Yeah, it's a very beautiful game.
It's,
That's like
it's animated in such a way that
Mhm.
it's like it feels alive. There's a lot of
Yeah.
little details moving around.
like even
and-
I think even the characters, even though they're small pixels, they kind of are like breathing
Yeah.
a little bit too.
Yeah.
Like when
the
they're
whole
walking around.
world feels like
Yeah.
it's breathing.
Huh,
Like
I'll have to
it's
check it
alive.
out. I haven't really
Yeah.
looked into it.
It's
I've heard of
very-
it. I just haven't really.
It's obviously like a
Looked in.
beautiful environment, forest
Nice.
area that
Nice.
feels alive.
If
Like,
you want to like play a Metroidvania where you're playing in another world, you know that's
Yeah.
probably one of the better
Man,
ones. For
I actually am
creating
playing a
that.
Metroidvania right now.
Yeah.
I'm playing Metroid: Samus Returns on my 3DS. It's fucking awesome, man. I've had the itch for a Metroidvania, and I'm a fair amount into it, and dude, it's got me hooked. The atmosphere is on point. The music is great. The game controls well. I love the deflect, the little fucking parry mechanic. They
oh
added.
yeah.
I've never played Metroid 2, so I'm not sure if that was a
No, it
mechanic
was not.
in the original.
No.
I don't think it was. 'Cause
No,
it's
it
pretty
was
advanced.
not. No, it was
I'm
not.
pretty sure they added that to this one. But
yes, it
Oh,
was
man, I love
definitely
it.
added.
so I've been playing that. I've been playing a little Monster Hunter World still. To be honest, dude, I'm kind of getting the itch to. On my PS4, I've got The Witcher 3 and my Dragon Age Inquisition icon sitting right next to each other. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm kind of getting that itch to get into a big role playing game again.
Ooh, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
So both I have not played either one, and I'm a huge Dragon Age fan. Never got to play Inquisition for some reason, don't know why. And then Witcher 3 is just
Yeah,
I'm scared to play that game.
because you're
but-
gonna lose your life.
Yes, I will, and I'm gonna start one of those two here very soon. So
Yeah.
probably by the next podcast, I'll have
Yeah.
a report on one of those two. Maybe I'll do a poll. Maybe I'll do a poll on the Facebook. Which one should I play?
Speaking of RPGs, the one RPG I guess I'm kind of like thinking about because I saw an advertisement recently. Ni no Kuni 2.
Yes.
yeah.
Did you play the first one?
Yeah. And
Awesome game.
And my girlfriend's been playing through the first one very recently.
Nice.
Nice.
A ton.
So it's
Like,
giving you the
hours
itch
and
now?
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The game, to be honest, the game wore on me. The first one, like I didn't finish it. I got really far. I didn't finish it because I watched the ending on YouTube, but dude, that game was. To be honest, dude, that game just took it out of me, man. Because I got so hardcore into it in the collecting of the creatures because it's like Pokemon
Yeah.
mixed with like
Yeah.
Tales. A Tales.
I've never
type game.
played it. I know the game, but I've never played
But
it.
the second one looks to improve on some of the mechanics and streamline it a little more. So I'm psyched. I'm gonna pick it up. I mean, maybe I'll just hold out for that. I don't know, but I need to work on my backlog. So
Yeah.
best not to. I'll wait for a sale on that one.
But
Yeah, that game looks the art style. I mean, I don't know if it's the first one had that Ghibli kind of style to it. So
Absolutely.
I don't know, or Ghibli. I don't know.
I'm sure it's only better. I'm sure they only like have more.
How do you guys say?
money
Is it
now,
Ghibli or
right?
Ghibli? Like
Ghibli.
Ghibli.
right?
Okay.
yeah,
'Cause
I
it's
would-
Japanese,
I
there's-
would call it. Yeah, they don't.
They don't
Japanese
have the
don't
j
pronounce.
sound,
No,
I
no,
don't
they
believe,
don't.
so.
Yeah, no, I don't think
When I
so.
hear people say Ghibli, I'm like,
That would be a J.
people say GIF.
Stupid gaijin.
Yeah. Right. But
Oh yeah. So what I mean, you're obviously you've kind of already told us what you've been playing. So the next thing we kind of want to talk about is this is kind of not gaming related, but we just saw Black Panther, so we're gonna talk about it for probably the rest of this podcast.
Let's do it.
Okay, so obviously it's been out for a week and a half, 2 weeks now.
Been out for a while.
Tons of
Yeah,
hype.
We were
like,
late.
Best movie ever, 100% Rotten Tomatoes, best
Mhm.
Marvel movie. So the expectations were pretty damn high. Obviously, I've mastered my ability of expectation through meditation and training in the
Yeah.
hyperbolic time chamber. So
Okay.
now I can curb my enthusiasm for a movie until I see
You
it.
can deflect
so.
the Rotten Tomatoes
Exactly
scores.
into the back.
Yeah. Larry
I want to play
David.
some Dragon Ball Fighters now. So anyway, Black Panther. It was it was a good movie. It wasn't. I think the hype. It was a little too overhyped. Not to say it was a bad movie, but I just don't think it quite lived up to the 100%.
It's the hype though.
Yeah.
Was it the movie that did that, or was it the hype?
It was.
That's
the
what
hype.
I'm saying.
And that's
So
why I said I can separate the two.
it's-
And I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
I have gripes, which we'll get to. But
I really liked the movie. I did. I thought, was it the best Marvel movie ever made? No, it wasn't. But it's definitely up there. I think it's one of the better ones.
it was one of the it was a
definitely
beautiful
worse
movie.
ones,
It was
yeah.
definitely
Oh,
a
yeah.
great looking film.
My general take is definitely like mixed.
Yeah, because
yeah.
this guy here, David, is like ultimate movie cynic.
Alright, yeah, I'm quite the hater. I hate movies. I totally agree 100% with Red Letter Media's like fuck movies intro every time.
I've gotten you on a few though, like Witch and It Follows, right?
Hell yeah.
Oh, those
Yeah.
are great movies. Both of
So
them.
anyway, continue. I
Um,
take pride in that I've shown you movies you like.
yeah. I'm not saying all movies are trash, but Hollywood usually doesn't know what it's doing, or does know what it's doing, and what it's doing isn't. They're not doing it for me.
You're talking about the AAA blockbuster type movies, okay?
I'm talking about Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't see most Marvel movies.
What was the last one you saw in theaters?
Or in general.
The last,
or in
the,
general.
The last
Well,
cape shit I saw was Wonder Woman.
Cape shit. I like
Dude,
it.
Wonder Woman was badass. Probably the only good DC movie.
I like.
Well, I didn't like it that
movie
much.
A lot
Okay.
more than I thought I would.
I liked it. Let's get
Or
away
a
from Wonder
little bit
Woman
more.
though. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what's the
Who
last
cares about
Marvel
that?
movie you saw, like in the theater, or like in general, aside from Black Panther? Like, where are you at in the timeline? Like, what's the most recent one you've seen?
Shit. I keep thinking of like other ones. I saw Logan. That's not.
Oh man, Logan.
Nope. You should be in the Avengers, but nope.
Maybe.
Right.
I have no.
Captain America. You didn't see Civil War, did you?
No, I didn't
You didn't
see
see
Civil
Thor
War.
Ragnarok.
I didn't see Thor
Did
Ragnarok.
you see Doctor Strange?
I saw Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Doctor Strange was great. That was,
Okay.
That
Did
was
you see
like,
Ant-Man?
super fun. No.
Oh,
Okay.
Ant-Man's awesome.
Ant-Man is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I heard so many people like talk super high about that when it first came out. I
Ant-Man?
was pretty excited to see it,
Yeah.
but like as it's gone on, more and more people tell me that it's like just okay.
It's definitely more of a comedy, I think.
Yeah.
than
It's not a typical superhero movie, and I think that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
I think
That's
that's why
how
I liked it
too.
more, because
You
it was
know?
like it went off its own.
I like the comedy in Marvel
Trail.
movies. That's why
Yeah.
Guardians is my favorite. Guardians of the Galaxy is my favorite Marvel movie, and I like the comedy in those movies.
Yeah.
That's why DC I think is failing so hard because they're so
They're
fucking serious.
Yeah.
I like
Why
the
so
movies,
serious?
Yeah.
the superhero movies that move away from the superhero storylines.
Yeah.
'cause
So
we've
what-
seen them.
So what about, now put your biggest movie critic hat on, what was it about Black Panther? I almost said Black Dynamite.
Dynamite,
What was-
Dynamite.
What was it about Black Panther that
Although
you...
Black Dynamite should have shown up in
I
Black
know.
Panther.
It was
Shown him.
missing, there was not enough Michael Jai White for that film.
He should have been Black Panther.
There wasn't
really.
enough Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. I guess I'll throw my critic hat in. Is like he was the main villain.
He didn't feel
Well, it was
like
like in Andy Serkis's character too, but
He didn't feel
but
like a
the
villain.
thing was like he really didn't even have his presence felt until like almost more than half of the movie was over.
Yeah.
So then it's like fighting and blah 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 and what
didn't-
what happens, and
yeah.
it was just like it was so quick. It felt so quick and like
Yeah, you didn't have that emotional weight really when and then that last fight scene. No spoilers, but there is obviously they fight each other.
no way.
It was all right. It was an okay ending fight.
Okay, we're all mixed up on the timeline.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Let's start. Okay.
I did say I was mixed on it, but that's like super good. Like I
know,
would
yeah.
give this a
Yeah,
5
because
out of,
you
I would
said
give
I was
this a
gonna hate
5 out
it.
of 10.
And that's good for
and
you.
that's fantastic for me, especially for a Marvel movie.
Wow.
Like
A 5 out of 10.
I want to start with a few things, like general ideas that I really liked. I really appreciated. It's all mixed because like everything that I want to say I like. There's examples that I like.
Well,
and
give
don't
us like your 3 likes and your 3 biggest
Right.
gripes. 3 likes, 3 gripes.
The biggest thing I liked that stood out was like certain visual scenes, just
Yes.
like
Yeah.
seeing it.
Very well
you
shot
know,
movie.
Yeah, you could. There are definitely like a lot of scenes that had like colors that I really enjoyed, and they changed it up a little. You know, I definitely
Yeah.
don't care for the darker, gritty, like bland, muted colors.
And not to
I
cut
like
you
these
off
brighter
on that, but
colors.
like I also felt like to kind of jump on that is, even though it was obviously Wakanda is not a real place and it didn't, even though there was obviously crazy weird things about it, it didn't feel fake. Though.
Yeah, it
like
felt
there
like
was
a real
moments.
place. It
There's
really
like
did.
moments where I was like, you know what? Like obviously there's stuff that's not real, but like just in general, it was. Sometimes when you see something that's like so fake, your mind drifts away from this being. And I never had that feeling where I was like, this is just bullshit.
They definitely
like,
nailed like Wakanda down. They definitely nailed like the setting down. I think.
I
the
feel
city was
good
cool.
when I see those establishing shots,
Yeah.
but then I don't feel like it's a real.
When they're walking around,
whenever
or-
they're
It is.
pretty. Sometimes when they're walking around, when the action starts, like
Yeah.
as soon as the action starts, I realize that I'm watching a video game.
Yeah.
Pretty much
The
these
last
days,
the
yeah.
last fight especially, that will be like the one thing that I would say is the last fight scene where they're on the train. That was probably the one time where my disbelief of reality was like, that's where I was like, this is kind of ridiculous.
It wasn't the fucking rhinos. Like,
I mean,
dude, that like
That
they
was
look,
cool.
They look so
Well, I mean, Donkey Kong
CGI.
Country.
Even when we first see the rhinos, like in the
It's Randy,
rhino
man.
in the rhino
Randy.
establishing scene
Should
where
have
he
a
has
box.
a rhino farm.
Yeah.
The brother has a rhino farm.
The rhino has a fucking name, man. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it has a fucking name.
Oh, okay.
So call it by I don't know. Anyway, continue.
Well, Mr. Rhino looks like even in that first scene where it's not moving that much, it looks super fake and like a lot of the they CGI'd some of this stuff.
Yeah, these
And
days
you saying they should have went like the Jurassic Park route with that
animatronics.
God, you know
mean,
that's a
maybe.
lost art in movies too.
It really is,
because
man.
the thing is Jurassic Park today still looks fucking
holds
good.
up because
Sorry.
they use fucking animatronics.
Yeah, it
well,
still
there is
looks
still
good.
CG, but they
Yeah.
blend it like the close-ups of the T-Rex, like getting on the car and shit. That's like
Yeah.
animatronic, dude. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I totally
Okay.
believe.
It's for me. It's
too
not about like
expensive, though.
practical, like the practical effects versus special effects, as much as like their execution was just really poor. Like
Yeah.
I've seen, like they have good when they put effort into these Marvel movies, it can come out looking fantastic. Doctor Strange, like that was fucking amazing, and like the Iron Man movies, like from years and years ago, like over 10 years now.
I was never really wowed by any of the action sequences. Like, okay, I think to some of my favorite, like the Iron Man 2 sequence in the dome, like. Some of the Iron Man fucking fight scenes are just amazing, dude. Like
even the first scene where like with the whip and like
Yeah.
the cars, like it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
great, and like it doesn't, he's he's not really in any danger at the very beginning.
I mean,
of the
this
movie,
one had a
but-
few action scenes, but they just didn't have like that really like awesome like fucking Marvel feel to them. I felt like there was a couple like challenge fights where they took away his powers, but yeah. So okay, so some of my I liked the visuals of the movie. I thought it was paced pretty well. I didn't really get too bored through it at all.
Yeah.
No, not at all. There really wasn't.
It
a
was
dull
basically
moment.
Lion King.
It was so I felt like
Yes,
it was. I felt like it was Lion King.
Like Golden or like James Bond and
Yeah,
Lion
and then
King.
the scene when they go to that kind of like underground casino in South Korea, I felt like there was even a shot where they're looking down at the tables that is like a direct ripoff. I can't think of which James Bond movie it is, but it's almost like, and it's even in a like Asian type gambling casino, and I was just like, I'm seriously watching James Bond, and then obviously like Black Panther, like. It's no offense to his character, it's just who he is, but he's African Bruce Wayne.
Pretty much,
essentially.
Yeah.
Pretty
so
much.
it was like,
or
so
African Tony Stark.
But so it's like, it's Batman, it's
But
a
you
little
also-
bit of James Bond, and then it's just like felt
you-
like Lion King.
Yeah, you have the fantasy like powers. He has like the drink that like gives him the super strength or whatever. So my biggest gripes was I thought the editing was pretty bad. There was some weird like abrupt cuts and just I don't know, man. It was the editing to me it could have been way better. Like especially during some of the transitions between scenes, it just like or like some of the fight scenes. There was just like actions.
Because there was so much going on.
But I thought the actual like fights, a lot of them were
whatever.
pretty clear, but there was like just a few weird cuts. Man, I don't know. I really noticed during movies, like sometimes I'll notice one or two, but I remember distinctly like 4 or 5 times being like, that was a weird ass cut.
They made odd choices of angles, probably to cut costs or
maybe
to deal with CGI, especially during the waterfall fight scenes, like all the ritual combat.
Yeah.
What like. Really
I filmed enough movies in my life to know that you forget shit sometimes and you have to like edit around it. But it seemed like there was just too many of those.
After
throughout.
Black Panther did in the box office. I guarantee you, because there
Yeah.
will be a Black Panther
Oh, for
2.
sure. There's gonna be like dude. They have Marvel movies planned through like 22,
Yeah.
30, dude.
Yeah.
So you're
There
good.
will be a Black Panther 2, and it will probably be shot better.
Dude.
If they were worried about it from a cost perspective.
Y'all can't deny this one had the best beats of any Marvel
Beats
movie.
by Dre.
Dude.
I just like
dude.
I like that it started off with Too Short.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was my favorite.
That was a good one. But I feel
That
like
was actually-
whoever made the soundtrack of this movie just had like fucking scatterbrain the whole time, dude. Like you go from sweeping orchestral to like trap hip hop beats to like techno to
When
to
you
African traditional music.
when you mentioned editing, like that's like I thought not visual, like some of what I think of is visual, but some of the editing was sketchy for the audio too. The
it was
sound
weird,
design overall was kind of lame and regular Marvel stuff probably.
It's
probably
like they just
okay for
blatantly
anyone
threw
that-
hip hop beats over everything, man.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we get it, but it doesn't serve the movie at that point. Sometimes it did, like I said, when like they're at the club or they're rolling up in the SUVs.
It
That
worked,
makes sense.
Yeah.
but they threw in like little clips of that music as transition music, and that was like it didn't make the transition. It didn't help the transitions at all. Like it just made me notice the music.
Didn't like Kendrick Lamar do the soundtrack? Or
I think he
some
did.
Shit,
I think
so-
he had
Kendrick. You should probably just go back to making hip hop albums and not movie soundtracks.
There's a lot of people that thought the soundtrack for this.
Well, maybe the
movie
official
was amazing.
soundtrack is
Yeah.
good with like all
I
the
think so.
rappers.
I was gonna say I've heard amazing things about the official soundtrack, but like
Well,
a
I'm
lot
talking
of
about
it
the
wasn't
score.
used.
The score sucked.
Yeah,
The soundtrack may be great. I thought the score sucked.
Yeah.
And
sucked is strong.
Yeah.
And I'm the critic.
Well,
here.
it was
maybe not
scatterbrained.
sucked, but you know,
Scatterbrained.
not
Scatterbrained.
sucked. It's the wrong word. It was scatterbrained, and
There's a lot of new stuff there as far as like some of the African music inspired stuff worked really well for me, and
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
thought it was neat as they started mixing it in.
yeah, some
I
of
thought
the
that was
mixes
a
were
neat
cool.
idea, but then the execution and the fact that they kind of kept hammering that part home didn't work for me.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely
it
had the
didn't
Disney
evolve, I
sprinkles all over it of some
Yeah.
sort of
So
message.
also on the music level, though, one of my favorite lines in that whole movie was by Andy Serkis when they're getting away and then there's no music playing in the car, and he's like, "Turn some music on." What do you think this is? A funeral?
Dude, Andy Serkis was the best part of that
Yeah,
movie.
he was awesome.
He's the best
Andy
part of
Serkis
any
is
movie.
awesome.
He's the
Yeah.
best part of any movie.
He should just be in every movie.
But
In
He
some
seemed-
role,
he
whether he's
seemed
a
so
CGI character or himself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing. So the acting, definitely my favorite actor was Serkis.
Andy Serkis,
He seemed a lot more natural than
Dude, he's
basically everyone else.
He can do anything, dude. Like, I think he has a lot more experience in acting than a lot of people in that movie. Because you think a lot of those actors weren't like, aside from Forrest Whitaker, like,
Yeah,
whatever. But a lot of those
he's
actors
fine.
aren't like the chick who plays Michonne in The Walking Dead. That's like really only her only experience. Like, I feel like because that dude did Lord of the Rings. He's done Star Wars. He's done fucking everything, bro.
I think I liked the acting from Michael B. Jordan too.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah,
He was
I mean,
pretty good.
I think I just liked his character a lot.
yeah.
Just liked him.
Yeah, I liked the
He looks
aesthetics. I
great.
like that mask he had
Oh,
too
yeah.
that he stole from the museum. That was pretty cool.
And Chadwick Boseman, the guy that plays Black Panther, T'Challa, I think he's a good actor.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
He was in so much of the movie that he had a lot of
I
opportunities. He
didn't
had a lot
love
of
him,
chances
though,
to
you know,
fail
like,
in his acting.
yeah.
For me, like there was some emotional scenes really worked. Like
I like the dynamic with his father.
yeah,
That's
interesting.
What I thought was the best. Was like his
Well, let's
inner
not
turmoil.
get too spoilery here.
Well, I'm just saying the dynamic with his father.
Yeah.
That's
No,
it.
everyone's
I thought it was
seen it.
good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean we're
Okay.
seriously some of the last people.
Yeah, we're
to see
probably the
this
last
movie.
people seen. Anyway, yeah, we probably should have warned you about this before we started talking
Yeah.
about it. But you should be smart enough. This is the internet.
Yeah.
At your own risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
grab that shit. It's worth watching.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth watching.
Definitely
It's
recommend
definitely, I think, in the upper 50% of Marvel movies.
I agree.
I have no idea.
I just wish there was more like. I mean, obviously in the next Avengers we're gonna see Black Panther like doing some badass shit. Like I
Yeah.
felt like he was more badass in Civil War than he was in this movie.
Yeah, on a badass scale, yeah.
Like, that's what I was
would
wanting. I was
agree.
wanting some like badass
He
fucking
did.
acrobatics, and there was some of that.
Yeah.
The whole like the SUV scene and all that shit was pretty cool. There was some pretty on your
Yeah, the
edge
chase.
moments.
It's so funny because like for me the entire movie is so mixed because like there's some
Yeah.
action scenes that I really appreciated, especially early on, and some of the and I complained earlier about like how some cuts felt weird during the ritual combat, But then there were a few shots and like movements during the ritual combat that I kind of appreciated. There wasn't too much shaky cam.
There was
Mhm.
one of my.
I saw someone attack, and
I
I
will
saw
say
the,
that.
the repercussions of that attack.
That's a good
Yeah.
point,
Right?
David, because I felt like a lot of action movies have really hard to follow action sequences. I thought this one was really like clearly shot. Like you could really tell what was going on for most of it. One of my favorite shots was in the casino where she knocks the dude off the balcony and then goes down, and the camera follows the whole way down and just continuously keeps shooting.
You know, I
That was
love
pretty
that
cool.
shot, and then at the same time, I'm watching it and I hear them do their like, you know, ultra bass sound effect as
Yeah.
she jumps down, and like that kind of sound design really pulls
What,
me out.
You talking about the
It's so
slow mo,
genius.
like
The slow-mo.
super stereotypical, yeah.
Like that.
the bullet,
I don't
the bullet
need
time.
the
It's bullet
vroom,
time essentially.
like part. Like
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I know that's so cliche now. It's so cliche.
like so I thought like that action scene in particular was pretty
Yeah.
well shot, but then like I tried to I was really trying to pay attention to like listening and the visceral experience of it all, and like the sound didn't catch me as much.
Mhm.
Like maybe the gunfire was kind of
Yeah.
all right, and everything else was
Yeah,
Kind
I'm
of
not sure.
whatever.
I'm not sure the director. I don't know if this was like his first movie or who it was, but anyway,
probably some
shout out to
Marvel
the DMX
yes man.
clan up in there, dude. The fucking Barkers, they were awesome.
Oh Jesus!
Ryan Coogler.
Cool. I don't know. I've never.
He's actually directed.
look at John
He
with his-
directed Creed too.
Oh yeah, that's who this
He
He's
guy
did-
is.
John is such a millennial. He had his cell phone out within 5 seconds, had IMDb up with fucking this guy's
Well, I was
entire
looking up.
filmography.
Damn.
I'm
I'm just
blast.
fucking with you.
Damn. He's gonna be the executive producer for Creed Part 2.
Oh, Creed. Okay,
Which
so
I love those movies.
I heard Creed is pretty
Also,
good.
Michael B. Jordan movies.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I
So
guess
he likes-
I guess
he
he's
likes
got
Michael
a thing
B.
for Michael B.
Cool. So
Yeah.
overall, yeah, we all liked it. Didn't super love it. I don't think it's the best.
No, but I would recommend it for
yeah,
anybody
definitely
that's a
recommend
fan.
it. Definitely
of
recommend it. It
comic
fits
book
well into the
movies
Marvel
or-
Don't
universe.
think about the details.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the best Stan Lee cameo, I thought. It was one of the
That
best
was one of the
ones.
better ones for sure. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was one of the better
Huh.
ones. It was hilarious.
I,
Most of them are just kind of like, he just does something stupid and walks off. I thought that one, he was like, give me all those chips.
it's so hard.
I'm
God,
gonna
I'm so
take
mixed on
those.
that one too because
Yeah.
like it's so blatant. It was so in your
They
face.
always
That's, but
are,
that's
though.
how they.
They
You don't
always
watch all the
are.
Marvel movies then, because a
Uh,
lot of
that's
them are.
fuck. They're
A
always
lot of them
so
are.
blatant, dude.
Damn. Okay, but
They throw it
they
in
used
your
to not
face.
be so
Now,
blatant.
I think
like,
back
swear.
in the early days, like the first couple Iron Mans, those
Yeah.
days,
Or
like it
even
wasn't
the
super bad.
Spider-Man.
He'd
Yeah.
be like
just-
in the
yeah.
background. I mean, he was like a DJ once. I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
seriously.
yeah.
Lately,
I
they've
think
gotten
that kind of cameo is way funnier for me. This is like, you know, he's coming in. I don't know. It's
It was
it's for
very
the
in your
popcorn
face.
Eaters, you
It's
know?
very in your
Yeah.
face. Hey,
It was also like him, like saying in your face, like literally. That was probably the most like of him on a screen, like
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
screen.
He took up the whole
He was,
frame.
It
yeah.
was
They
nice.
put him up like big.
Well,
on
speaking of
there.
Stanley, I heard he had like some pneumonia issues recently,
shit,
and
really? That's
so I
so
hope
bad.
he gets well. I've
Yeah.
heard he's on the mend,
Fuck.
but yeah.
Speaking of, so did Rick Ross. I have to find out if Rick Ross is good.
Oh,
He
Rick-
was
oh,
like, he was in
oh.
the hospital, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then fucking Kevin Smith having a fucking
yeah,
heart attack, dude.
He had the same heart attack my uncle had too. The
Shit,
one where it's
dude.
like you have like
Hey.
basically 10%
Y'all,
chance of surviving.
Eat your fucking vegetables, okay?
Right?
That's the retro hero message of the day. Eat your
Yeah.
fucking greens. Eat your spinach. Your
Yeah.
kale. Actually, kale. Fuck kale. Kale's weird. Okay. Anyway, that's it for. I think we should wrap it up, guys.
I think
This
we
guy
get, I
ain't
think
part of
without making it too much of the whole movie review too. This is a video game podcast, so I do want to ask David one more thing before we
Sure.
close up. With the new game that you're trying to find your inspiration for, do you have any like ideas though, like in your
Yeah.
mind exactly? Like, I'm assuming you have some sort of
Your
So
passion
where
I,
you want to go.
yeah, so I talked about themes before.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm gonna do anything as far as themes, as far as story goes, it's gonna be a theme. For me, right now, I'm just working with a general idea of gods of vices. So
Mhm.
I'm taking like there's like a number of old Greek names for the vices that I
Oh,
really
yeah.
enjoy.
Mhm.
That give a nice like it's familiar, but it's a little strange at the same time. And I
Yeah.
want to bring in the idea of basically either working for or against these gods.
Mhm.
Oh,
They're
that's
basically
interesting. I like that.
I just imagine them as being bosses that dwell in different parts of the world,
That's cool.
and you can go to these various bosses, and some of my earliest ideas have been about fighting these bosses or fighting a different boss and claiming a different item perhaps to gain
Mhm.
favor with
Mhm.
another one. This is all
Obviously, very preliminary. I'm assuming.
very
yeah.
much so.
That sounds cool.
Those
like that.
themes kind of like
different.
relate to. I kind of want to relate it back to like free will and see how whether I want. It has a lot of it feels like I need to really work on this and think about where it will lead to in the end. But super sneak peek, basically like working on gods and free will and who's the master and who's
I like that.
the slave.
Platformer type game, is that what you're thinking?
Oh yeah. As far as gameplay, okay, sorry, it's so obvious to me that I didn't even like.
No, yeah,
figure
I
out.
know. It's I just
Basically
Everyone
action
doesn't know you.
platformer.
Okay.
I'm really, I definitely have like some mechanics I'm like in love with. I love right now I'm working with a single jump and 2 different kinds of wall jumps.
Mhm.
Actually,
interesting.
that's something I'm
Love
really
wall
excited
jumps.
about.
Gotta have wall jumps.
So I like wall jumps. I love them. I love
Yeah, Celeste
interaction
nailed the
with
wall
walls.
jumps.
And I really want to do something where you have 2 different wall jumps. One that can like do a normal kickoff high, and one that kicks you down back to the ground.
Interesting.
And I want to work with this to find a way to design levels that integrate this movement style,
Yeah.
and I want enemies or bosses that that you will want to make use of this mobility. I want to give players options
Yeah.
as they move.
Hell yeah, man.
And I think that maybe I kind of eventually I want to try to tie those options and your mobility and all that into the themes of free I guess free will and like the themes of choice.
I like that.
Nice, man.
That's
Sounds like
something
you've got a really solid idea down. It's just now the execution of making it into reality.
absolutely.
That's the hard part, right?
Yep. Well, yeah, if you need me to do like a voice, I'm always down to voice act.
Maybe.
Oh, and Professor John will recommend that play some Mega Man X if you want to look at some wall jumping. I think
Dude.
they're one of the
Yeah.
masters at wall jumping mechanics.
Definitely one of
Celeste
my
had some
like,
amazing
Yeah.
wall
first
jumps.
favorite platformers of all time.
Yeah.
Mega Man X, like X in particular. That
Right,
character
yeah, that's
and
what I mean.
That
Yeah.
first series, that first game was definitely like my, early childhood gaming icon. Like some
Awesome.
people have Sonic and some people
Yeah.
have Mario, and I've known those people, but I am Mega Man.
that's
And,
great.
Like, run, jump, shoot. That's what I
You
want to
just
do.
you just got a lot cooler in my book, man. I'm a Mega Man kid too, so that for sure.
Link.
Yeah. No, I was all about the Mega Man, the blue
Mega
bomber.
Mans.
But anyways,
Yeah,
I
let's
think
wrap
that
this-
sums
yeah,
up
let's
our
wrap this up.
podcast. But
It's getting late.
Let's,
One more time. So you're
how to get to you.
R_Panda on Twitch,
Yep.
correct?
You can find me on twitch.tv. You can find I upload to YouTube as well. Clips of like personal records, world records.
Nice.
And then all my games are going to be at itch.io or Game Jolt or anywhere else I can find to upload them.
Sweet. Okay. Yeah. So everyone, please go check him out. And in the future here, we got to do some sort of like cross stream or cross,
I think that would be awesome.
something like that, dude. And anyway, yeah, you can where to find us, guys. RetroHeroPodcast@gmail.com. If you want to email us, please do. Any questions? Please, we're about to start emailing ourselves questions.
Not John123 at gmail.com asks.
Who could this be? Yeah, and Facebook is the best social media for us right now, I
Yeah.
think. So yeah, Facebook.com/RetroHeroPodcast. Please go to Patreon. We need the support.
Patreon.com
We really
/
want to.
Retro Hero.
Yes, we really want to start
Yeah.
expanding the show. We've got guests now. We're
And
getting people on, and the Patreon's the best way to help support us. Really, it is. So
Without hearing it, I think this was actually one of our better episodes.
no, for sure. I really do
enjoyed
think
it.
this was
David,
a
you,
good one.
you killed it. You made it really
Yeah.
good for us too.
Yeah,
So.
thanks for joining us,
It
David.
was super fun, and I'm down to be
yeah.
back anytime.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
Oh,
sure.
you will be back.
That
It
will.
went
That will.
way better than I was
Yeah.
afraid of it.
No.
Oh,
you
man.
were
All right.
great, man.
Later, y'all.
Laters.
Ooh, ooh.